What's up, everybody? Before we get started today, I just want to let you know about something really exciting that's happening. It's amazing how often we overestimate how hard something will be, and we underestimate how much we can actually accomplish if we just go all in and start. So, my friend Cathy Heller, who was a guest on episode 59, she didn't start her podcast until she was 37 years old. Okay. In 5 years, it has grown to almost 40 million downloads and now generates multi seven figures. All right. She did not have an Instagram when she began or an email list of any kind of frame. All right. She had 3 young kids, one who was 10 days old at the time, no marketing budget, but a feeling within her that she wanted to put her message into the world. Fortune favors the brave, folks. When we have the courage to take a step forward, we will be led to magic. So starting September 12th, Cathy is hosting a free It's Time to Podcast bootcamp. I'm including the link to sign up in the show notes, so be sure to check that out. And maybe instead of focusing on our imposter syndrome and all the ways we're not, quote, ready or, quote, good enough, right? We should think about being generous. And even if we can inspire 2 people today, know that it has all been worth it. Cathy has interviewed incredible souls, including Matthew McConaughey, Deepak Chopra, Priyanka Chopra, Seth Godin, and has tons to share on how to start and scale a profitable podcast. She pours so much love into her work, and these sessions will be incredible. Take it from me, I've actually taken her course myself. Cathy Heller is the person who inspired me to actually get started. Don't forget to check out the show notes for your link to sign up for the free podcasting bootcamp. And if you're not available on September 12th through 15th, don't worry, there are replays available. It doesn't get any better than this. It's free. Sign up today. Thanks to Sana Skin Studio for supporting the No Podcast. Sana is a skin studio that is shifting the relationship with your skin and your products through goal-driven facials, real guidance, and clean skincare. Stay tuned for our promo code so you can receive $25 off of your first facial at Sana Skin Studio. Welcome to the No Podcast with me, Nikki Spo. Hey guys, welcome back. You are listening to The No with me, Nikki Spo, and I am happy that you are here. So back in February when my mom passed, I started seeing a healer named Joyce Haddad. Joyce specializes in spiritual entanglement, helping her clients release spiritual holds, bonds, and anchors so that they can feel freedom from what is holding them back, even if those bonds are tensions between people and loved ones. This year, she released her first book called Spiritual Divorce, which is not really about divorce, but more about the idea of divorcing toxic ties between individuals that cause more harm than good. Joyce is an intuitive facilitator of divine energy and transformational expert. She is a visionary entrepreneur with a devoted 20 years of experience in quantum healing. She specializes in trauma work and incorporates quantum medicine through voice alchemy, metaphysics, pattern behavior, reprogramming, resetting the human mind, the energy system, and so much more. Joyce has been an instrumental part of my own healing journey, and I'm excited for her to share her methods with us today. I'm so excited. So Joyce, I love you, and I'm so grateful for your presence in my life because you've helped me through some really difficult experiences. So thank you for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you, exchange this amazing energy, and just share our inner worlds.
You are the author of your new book called Spiritual Divorce, which is not necessarily about divorce, but it's really more about like divorcing these toxic ties and detangling, right? This built up negative energy between individuals so that you can go on and live a more free and whole existence. So you have a method of doing that, right? Like this spiritual entanglement. And so when it's funny because when I was explaining it to my friends, I'm like, detanglement. You are like actually detangling, right? The entanglement. So I want to talk about the ways you go about doing that. And the first thing I want to ask you is what quantum medicine even is.
So quantum medicine is the it's a technology really of a frequency that we need to understand that is out there for us. So it's like being or accessing this energy between our physical body and our environment, our the space between everything that interconnects everything is quantum, right? So this frequency, because it has substance, and in quantum physics you can go deeper into this information. This substance, this medicine is the key to our progress as humanity, because we are this energy. We're not our bodies, okay? We are energy. And so if we begin to perceive our life, ourselves as vibration, frequency, okay, and energy, then we can work in our entanglements. We can understand, oh, wait a second, I'm not this human existence completely. There's more to me. There's a vibe to me. And this vibe can be shifted, can be transformed and entangled through this quantum field.
So you said something though that really stuck out to me. Like you said, we are not your bodies. Now, like Joyce, obviously, that I've been on a healing journey for so long. So like, I feel like my awareness and my knowledge, I understand a lot of these concepts that you present, but I want to let's break it down even further for people who are like, this is the first time hearing this. And they're like, okay, woo-woo stuff. Definitely. Right. Like when you say something like, we are not our bodies, like, what do you mean by that?
We're energies, right? So it's like a vibe, right? So everybody has vibes, Nikki. Everybody's got a vibe. Everybody feels a vibe, and everybody is giving out a vibe. Okay. So it's not even about religion. Religion to me is like, it's secondary right now, because it's a system. Energy is more of a sensation, right? So we feel in our bodies, obviously, because we have cells, we have chemistry, we're here to connect with so many different people, situations, and things. We're here in an Earth university, and we're learning every single day with our experiences. So everybody will understand that there is some kind of something out there, right? Whatever it is that your philosophy is, if you want to call it God, if you want to call it universe, if you want to call it a quantum field, there's a science that has been proven that there's an energy, and everything is energy. Even people that are meditating, for example, or people who don't even meditate, who basically are bike riding or are working out, they are actually accessing this energy without even knowing it. So it's a very powerful study, okay? And it sounds woozy, but it's actually the original medicine of the humans in the history of humanity. Everybody has worked with energy, right? So everybody works with energy without realizing. Your words have substance, okay? Your thoughts have substance. Your feelings have substance. And that's how we travel and navigate through life, through this sensation.
I think that's really important to pay attention to, is that everybody works with energy without even realizing it.
Everybody. If you're focused and you're a badass at what you're doing, and you're there and you're there and you're there and you're focused and you're growing it and growing it and growing it, that is energy. You're exuding this energy from you, and you are making it happen. That's called a manifestation, right? But people don't realize it. No, I'm just going to live my life. I'm in a physical world, which is fine, okay, which is great. Nobody has to really do this kind of work if they're not interested. But without them knowing it, they're doing it.
So this brings me to then ask you, like, because you talk about like the being the badass and like the going and the believing and like like when you say things like that, what I'm feeling, in the energy exchange that we're having is like the good stuff. Like, I'm like, yes, I feel inspired. I feel motivated. As you know, because we've worked together, it's like sometimes I feel stuck. Like how? And it's so hard, Joyce, to like get out of the stuff. It's like quicksand. It's just like you're like in the mud. Like, how do you get out when you're like in that loop? And I think this is where a lot of what you do comes into play, right? With this spiritual entanglement. So talk to me about that. Like, how do we get unstuck from a like cellular spiritual mindset standpoint?
So imagine yourself like a knot, like everybody has a knot in their chain or in just a string, or you find a knot somewhere and you're playing with it and you get frustrated and you're trying to disentangle a bunch of strings together, right? Okay? And it gets frustrating. So that
I'm
same
literally thinking right now, by the way, Joyce, of like the last time that I was like sitting there with like two little safety pins trying to
yes.
detangle my necklace. Like
And so you
100%.
grab it and you just throw it and you said, forget it. I don't want to deal with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is the same work with ourselves. We get frustrated when we do the inner work, okay? Trying to untangle the relationship. So in the process of the sessions or the treatment of an entanglement, right? Untangling it, you're going to get frustrated. And then things are going to go crazy because you are untangling these knots, and in that process of releasing the chaos out, from where? Okay, from where do we release it? From our energy field. And it's difficult to understand it if you're not familiar with what energy really is, that concept. But it's like basically removing that knot from in front of you and putting it in a different space. Because what happens is that energy can't be broken, it can't be destroyed, it can only be transformed. So when you give that knot awareness, so let me think about it. Think about the knot, and there's a string here that is like a mother situation. There's another string here that's a father situation. There's a bullying situation. There's an abuse situation. There's so many things that we experience that continue to stay knotted as we grow up. You have a huge knot that is affecting the way you're feeling, right? So then with my tech methodology, my technique, what I do with everyone is to give you awareness. So let's get awareness on, let's start with one knot, right? And say, okay, let's break down this knot. This is a relationship with mom. How was the relationship? How did she treat you? How did you feel about it? What were your experiences with it? Did you feel separate? Did you feel connected? Did you feel abused? I mean, whatnot. It could be your mom, your father, your grandmother, your friend, your whatever, right? No matter what it is. When we understand the sequence of how that relationship kind of got knotted, then we can understand your behavior. And I can understand the pattern that you might be repeating, let's say, in your life. So no matter what modality you use, the reason why untangling yourself is the most effective thing is because that's what the first thing that you should do. You got to untangle your life.
I was gonna. So when you're saying this, I'm thinking obviously, like that I've done years of like
Different modalities too.
yeah, like and mostly like psychotherapy, right? Like with a therapist, talk therapy, right?
Okay.
So
Mhm.
how is that? How is like this spiritual entanglement or the spiritual detanglement, right?
Mhm.
More effective, or not even just like more effective, but an
It's faster.
important part
It's
of the
fast.
process.
It's fast. In
I
one
like that.
session, yeah, one session of untangling spiritual divorce is about 20 years of therapy. Why? Because not only do we do the discovery session in my methodology, which I love so much, which is that psychology side of me, which I studied psychology, but I like to break down all your stories. And every time you come in, we look at the map and say, oh my God, this situation we worked on is lesser. I don't have issues with my friend, whatever it is, right? But then I take you on the first 20 or half an hour of my session on that discovery path of talking therapy. But you and I are kind of being detectives of your own life from birth all the way now to the now. And then I take you in a massage table. Now you can do this sitting down in a computer. We can do online sessions. You can do it laying down. The difference when you do it in person is that I lay you down, and through breath work, okay, and through my technique of untangling those strings that are knotted, okay, you pull, untangle, and release them, and you actually confront aspects of yourself under an altered state. An altered state means that we're working with brain waves. You're going from a beta brainwave, which is how you and I are right now, we're talking on a beta state, which is a conscious level, to a theta, alpha, theta, delta state. So when you go into a theta state, you're in a very deep meditation state where you're not in your conscious mind, you're in your subconscious mind. So when we go into that register, then we're actually transforming those obstacles into opportunities. We're giving awareness to the story that was entangled and clearing it so that you're opening your path, removing the roadblocks that are keeping you in limitation.
How does this spiritual entanglement affect people in their lives without even knowing it?
Well, they just manifest distorted realities and they think it's normal. And so people are.
It sounds very simple when you say it, but like it's almost like I'm laughing because I'm like,
yeah,
obviously. I'm like, this is like, it's so obvious, like in the ways that I've done that in my own life, right? Wait, what did you say? You manifest distorted realities and
distorted reality. You're always, you attract, right? So our thoughts are electric energy, and our feelings are magnetic energy. Our feelings
whoa. That was big. Wait, our thoughts are
electric energy.
Electric energy.
We send out signals.
Okay. Our thoughts are like signals, like
right?
Pew, pew.
Pew, 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 little pistols going jun, 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 jun. And then our feelings are magnetic, but they also send out signals. So you attract not what you think, you attract what you are. So that chemistry that you're feeling, that entangled chemistry that we feel, is what is attracting the realities that we're living. So I like to always I like to draw some stuff, but I'll show you a little bit here so that the listeners or viewers can check it out. So if you're here, right? Let's see, can you see that? If you're here, let's say someone's here, right? And we have this energy that is emanating out into that unified field, which unified field is just that quantum energy, the universe, God, the higher power, whatever you want to call it. And it's coming from you. But what is the story that we're emanating? We're emanating this entanglement here. We're emanating this entanglement. So many stories, right? And each story, if we break down, which is what we do in session, if we break down that story, we can understand pattern plus behavior plus sensation plus reality.
Okay, pattern plus behavior plus sensation plus reality. And that's like loaded. That's a lot.
There's more. So check this out. You might have some love. You might have learned love with abuse, and you might have learned love with abuse and just separation, let's say, right? And you're behaving, you're attracting, so you're sending out this signal through your emotions, one section of your energy field, and then all of a sudden you have a reality that you have someone in your life that is abusive, that loves you through abuse or through an entanglement. But since that reality or that perception or that definition of a certain love was recorded that way because, let's say, your father was that way, your grandfather was that way, and this is a general explanation, then you are going to attract that same energy, like-minded match, So the field of your energy works really intensely because it's not only one story you have here, you got two, you got three, you got four, so it's like an orchestra of vibration. So now you're sending out all these signals, and then you have your life. And then you're going to have great ones, and you're going to have harmful ones, and you're going to have all kinds of stories that are popping up in your reality. So the more conscious we are, the more we bring the unconscious to the conscious, then boom, we can change our reality. And then now we are architects of our destiny instead of our energy is manifesting something that we're not even aware of.
This conversation is so good, but before we keep going, I want to take a minute to thank our sponsors, Sana Skin Studio. The best way for me to describe Sana is that it feels like coming home. Unlike traditional facials, Sana's facials are rooted in education, and I love this so much. Every experience I've had at Sana has been a chance to learn more about my skin and its needs. I love that the facials are effective while also being accessible enough to be a monthly ritual rather than a yearly splurge. I'm honored to be able to provide our audience with a promo code. Use the code TheKnowGlow for $25 off of your first facial at Sana when booking via sanaskinstudio.com. So how has this personally affected you in your life?
I'm 45, so when I was like 20, it was mostly my father. My father got sick with cancer. My dad's side is an Arabic descent. My mother is Italian. My father was very authoritarian, very strong, mentally strong, very controlling, very like his way or the highway kind of thing. And I got a lot of, we got a little bit of like physical, abuse and here and that. And it was really intense for me because I am this free Aries Sagittarius woman, okay, where I love life and I'm a singer. I love to be, and that's where voice alchemy comes in, and I'll explain. And so my dad kind of wanted me as a woman to work for him. So all of my dreams, everything got kind of shut down with him. And then by the age of 21, I was married. I stopped my career in the music career. I stopped so much. And then I blamed him for my entanglement. And when I got married, I had 2 children by the age of 24, and I was super entangled. Okay. When my dad got sick and the doctors told him, you have 1 more year to live, I thought I was dying. But then I began to look for an alternative to help him heal, and I ended up shifting gears into my mission. So I'm grateful for that. And I stopped the blaming game. I took responsibility of what I didn't do. And I took responsibility of that. I still have time to do whatever I want because I'm an unlimited soul. And so I helped him a lot. I applied everything I learned. And that was the beginning of my book. And now after 20 years of experience and seeing over 1,000 clients, I created the methodology, this unique strategic step-by-step process that untangles anyone and anything. And so now I just do it for a living and I teach it. I'm going to launch my first untangling course in October 14, 15, and 16. It's a weekend, 3 days of intense immersion it's in person here in Miami, and it's just intense immersion of really going deep into your soul and just pulling and just releasing this. And he lived for 10 more years.
Oh, wow. Bless. So also I wanted to ask you what theta healing is, because I saw that you do that. Like, I don't know anything about this. Like, basically when I came to you, I'm like, Joyce, help me. I'm like, I need help. Mama needs help. Okay, 2 things. What are theta healing and what's the Kith method?
So Kith method is the process. Okay. So spiritual divorce is a technique that untangles, right? So now I use more of the untangling word because when people hear spiritual divorce, they automatically think it's a divorce, it's couples, and it has absolutely nothing to do with that. The technique is an untangling technique that releases and unsticks anything. So anywhere from the death of a loved one that you've been grieving for years and can't get over, a relationship that you've been separated for years and you want to let it go finally, that works for you. If you have a business entanglement, if you have employee entanglement, if you have lost a pet, for example, I've released entanglements from pets, people that lost a pet and can't get over the pet. If you have issues with your children that is not aligned and you want to fix it, you release the chaos and that aligns it. Parents, I mean, you name it. Even jewelry. I've had people let go of articles and things and homes and whatnot. Hmm. Yeah. So attachments, any attachment. And so the Kith method is the whole process of the actual session from start to end. And I called it the Kith method. Keep it in the heart, which is my company. So I said Kith. The actual technique of untangling is the SDT, spiritual divorce, but to make it easy for everyone, it's just an untangling method, right? And theta healing is a technique that I learned many years ago, and it works with the theta brainwave and the theta
Which is what? I don't even know. Okay, wait. That's what you talked about before, like alpha, beta, delta, theta, right? Okay, got it.
So that's where we actually create miracles. But the theta brainwave is used not only in theta healing, it's used in every energy healing method, hypnosis, EFT. I mean, anytime you close your eyes and breathe deeply and go deeply, you're in a theta state. So it's like another modality that's out there. But before you do any modality, you have to untangle your life so that then those modalities can be enjoyable. They can be more beneficial for your life.
When you treat individuals for their entanglements, like how does that go? How do they go into their life and then improve their relationships? So like, let's say it is with a mother or a father or an old boss or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are those relationships salvageable if only one person has done the entanglement?
It is, but it is better if they both do the untangling, because what happens is you don't need anybody in front of you physically to do this process. You can release the entanglement within you so that your reality shifts, because what you're seeing outside of you is basically a reflection of what's in yourself. So a lot of the time, when you create awareness in your life and you create a treatment and you start bringing awareness to all your entanglements and you reclaim your power where you left it, your whole reality shifts without doing much. I always tell people, work on the energy level first, and then the physical will work out in itself if it's meant to be. And if it's not meant to be, well, then you go, things can separate, you can release, whatever. But always work on the entanglement within you. You can't control another. You can't change another, even though you wish it and you can pray for it. But reality is that everybody's responsible for their own entanglements and their own way of being brought up. But once that person or yourself becomes aware of that, then things happen like this.
I came to you initially, like when my mom had just passed away in February, right? And just hearing your story about how like your relationship with your father. And it sounds to me like just what I'm hearing is that a lot of these entanglements start within our family of origin, right? And you even drew it on the board. It's like you have this here. This is what you were accustomed to. This is how you learn to love. This is how you learn to argue even. This is how you learned to express emotions, whichever emotions they are. And so you take that with you and that's what you attract in the rest of your life, right? So, it's really, and so Joyce, in my openness about like talking about my relationship with my mom and how I chose to, I was estranged from her for a long time. And I had to make that choice for myself for like my mental and emotional well-being, right? I hear countless stories of people who are like, I wish I could detach. I wish I could let go. I wish I could do that. I don't know how to do that. And obviously that looks different for everybody. I'm not saying that like me being estranged from my mom was like the solution. Fortunately, I was able to work through my own process and come back to a space where I was able to love her until the end of her life, and support her in the ways that I could. But I hear so many people, because I shared my own experience with that. So many people are stuck in those situations where they do not know how to like detangle or separate, or I think it's really hard for individuals to separate from their parents, even like well into adulthood. Do you find that you treat that the most, the least, like where does that fit into the picture?
I want to tweak it a little bit what you said about separating from your parents. I have my most case would be relationships and then parents. It's just that it's the same concept for everybody. It's hard. That's why I created this method, because I love it so much. I'm so passionate about it that I want to give everyone the tools. Let's study your relationships. I'm going to give you these tools so that you can have awareness of your parents and how things were recorded. Mm-hmm. It's like building a bridge and then there's glitches, right? Then all of a sudden that bridge is going to fall because it has no sustainability. It has no roots. But if I'm aware what happened when I built the bridge, then I can fix it. And then that bridge can be solid as heck. And it's the same process with our parents and everything else, because mom and dad is like the first relationships, right?
Yeah,
Some
right.
people had one, maybe some people grew up with their grandparents, or maybe they didn't have their dad, or, there's so many different things, right? But this entanglement technique allows you to release it quickly. So that is my mission now, is to expand as much as possible so people have the tools to release, 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 and really align themselves to their higher purpose. Because your higher purpose won't come in if you got tons of entanglements around you.
What about entanglements within ourselves, like towards ourselves?
That's
Right?
number
Because I think about
one.
like, okay, yeah, got a problem with you, got a problem with you, got a problem with you, right? Like, and I'm being funny, but like,
No, I
seriously,
get
like,
it.
what about the problems that we have with ourselves and the entanglement that like, and the self shame and the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves, right? And like the lack of self love. Like, I have struggled with self love and like what that means forever, and I'm still learning every day what it means to truly love myself. So like, how do we even go about doing that work?
And it's still, you are one of the aspects of self that we work on. So you have to work on yourself too, to release the anger towards yourself, to release the regret, the resentment, and that leads into money entanglements and a bunch of other things that people have, because you are so stuck in the narrative of the past. You got to get rid of that and come into the present, because that no longer exists, but you bring it on because it's still active. So the reason why you keep thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking of something is because it's still an active memory in your system, in your cells, in your memory. And remember, a memory is just a snapshot. It's a snapshot of an entanglement or a trauma that happened in the past that remains active. So when you go back into that and release, scientifically, around the cell membrane, there's energy. And when we release that really dense energy around the cells, you neutralize that hate, that anger. That's just an emotional voltage that is still active. So I'm like a bully. I make you go into those situations. Let's go. Come on. We have no time to waste. Let's reclaim that aspect of yourself that you gave away in this thing and this, that, and da. Stop the blaming game. Let's release the narrative and let's integrate. What's the lesson that it's teaching me? What is this confusion teaching me? Remember, confusion is the personification of an entanglement. And once we get rid of that, boom, we have clarity. And that's what everybody wants. Clarity. I want clarity.
Oh my gosh, I can't tell you, Joyce, how many times literally I
Mhm.
remember praying at night, or like on my birthday when I would blow out my candles. Seriously, every year, like when I was like old enough to like have this like state of awareness, I would wish for clarity. I swear to the universe that is what my wish was. I was like, I would pray to God, please give me clarity. Please give me clarity. Please give me clarity. I wouldn't wish for happiness. I wouldn't wish for like things. I would wish for clarity. It's amazing that it's just, I'm like mind blown that you just said that, because that has been like that's my go-to wish.
We want clarity. And people are like,
Totally.
there's many people, I would say like 85, 90% of people live in different energies. They're not really living in their body. They're not embodying themselves. Why? Because there's pieces and aspects of themselves everywhere. And that's why they have confusion. And that's why they have no clarity. Because they're in the past or in the future. They want either trying to build a future, or they're trying to fix a past, but they forget about here now. The power is in the here and the now. When I'm here, I can listen. When I'm here in my body, I'm more confident. When I'm here in my body, I can feel more. And it's a process. It's not like from one day to the other. I always tell everybody, you got to do the work. If you don't show up in your own life, how can you show up for anything else?
So you touched on something that I think is interesting when we're talking about clarity. Like, sometimes the clarity is being okay in the uncertainty, right?
Yes.
And like trusting that it's okay, like in this weird way. Cause like for me, one of the hardest things is becoming comfortable, like not having all the answers, right? And in its own way, that is clarity. Like, I have clarity. I have trust that like whatever is going to be okay, or I'm safe, right? even through discomfort, even through confusion, even if I do not have the answer or know what the outcome is going to be.
And you don't have to know.
Yeah.
You don't have to know right now, but just
Mm.
being clear with that and feeling okay that I'm okay that I'm uncertain right now and I just want peace, you know? And that's what I think people need to find. And there's so many tools out there. Breath work, I mean, breathing in the morning and just really just breathing in, just breathing 4 times in, holding it in and just 5 seconds out. That will release a lot of that density energy around your field and your body, your mind, your heart. And I think the key to success, the key to anything, is to have your mind and your heart together. A lot of people, this mind heart coherence, where I'm thinking one thing and then I'm doing another.
Yeah,
That needs
right.
to,
Oh
that
my
needs to
gosh.
come
Yes.
together.
Yes.
That needs to come together.
I work on that is like one of the things I have to work on all the time,
Me
especially in
too.
parenting, like mind versus heart versus like, oh, it's
Yeah,
a lot. It's a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah. And you're in areas like me, so
Yeah.
we're like, we're like, we want to do, we want to do, we
I
want to do.
know.
Which for us, that's a little challenge because we need to slow down a little because
Mhm.
when we're slowing down, we be present. And then when we're being present and really tapping into that magnetic power, then we begin to synchronize and attract what is destined for us. And
Amen to
yeah,
that.
and that's how it is. It's all synchronicity. It's really an act of being versus doing. We're used to doing and doing it in the grind. I'm in the grind. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going for it. I'm doing it. This grind, if people knew that we can grind in a peaceful state, like just really allowing things to come to you, whew, it's powerful.
Joyce, you are powerful. I've loved having this conversation with you. Like, I'm so excited for our listeners to tune into this because it's like
I'm
seriously
excited.
mind blowing. It's mind blowing information to me. It's been effective in my life, and I
Yes.
know that you've helped countless other individuals. So I hope that everybody goes to check out your book, Spiritual Divorce, and really just like tap into this because it's so beneficial. And there's just so much good that can come from this type of work. So I'm so thankful to you, Joyce. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. They can go on my website, spiritualdivorces.com.
Amazing.
And we can do whatever. Anything can be done if you really desire it. And I think that that's the most important. If you do the work, you will get back what you put in. And then you can live that life you want. You're the designer, you're the architect. So navigate towards those dreams and wishes.
This podcast was brought to you by Sana Skin Studio. Be sure to use my code, TheNoGlow, for $25 off of your first facial at Sana when booking via sanaskinstudio.com. More than a skin studio, Sana is a movement towards healthier skin and self-love. Thank you so much for listening to The Know. If you loved this episode, go ahead and share it with a friend. Words are so powerful, and someone may need to hear what we covered today. And if you really loved this episode, please take a moment to rate the show and leave a review. Your comments are so important and valued, and they give other listeners insight on what to expect on The Know. You can connect with me personally via Instagram at Nikki Sap Spo and The Know with Nikki Spo. My hope for you today is that you are fearless in looking inward so that you can be your highest, most authentic self and go after the life of your dreams.